Good evening, Mr. Jones.
Good evening, Councilwoman. My name is James Jones, and I represent Community Foundations, which is a chapter of the Ohio Organizing Collaborative. We believe in creating opportunities for all people of Columbus to learn, grow, and succeed. I want to thank all City Council members for allowing us to have this conversation. Today, specifically, we want to continue the conversation around extending the weekend hours at 10 different recreation centers throughout the city. As most people recall, we proposed this idea at the City Council Parks and Recreation budget hearing on Thursday, November 29th, 2012. We appreciate the positive response we received at the hearing from both Councilmember Klein and Director McKnight towards the proposal. I am requesting that City Council consider increasing parks and recreation budget to allow for midnight basketball and extended weekend hours at 10 different recreation centers. The importance of midnight basketball is at an all-time high due to the high rate of the 85+ homicides this year in Columbus, many of whom are under the age of 30. We need a positive alternative for our youth to engage in at night and during weekends. When we talk to our youth, they tell us that they don't have anything during this time period. While a lot of churches and non-profit groups have attempted to fill this gap, their capacity is limited. We need additional funds to be allocated for the Parks and Recreation Department to increase the ability to provide positive activities for the youth during this crucial time and period. We want our youth to pick up a ball instead of a gun. As you know, this past Friday, the 26 people that have been killed in Newtown, Connecticut, should remind us of the need to provide a safe space for our children and begin the healing process here in Columbus. We cannot put a price on life. There is no more important investment we can make than in the health and safety and the well-being of our youth. My only goal is to make sure that the children of our community have the opportunity to be successful without fear. And to all City Council members, we are asking that you take the request for the extended hours at the 10 recreation centers into serious consideration. We look forward to continuing this conversation with you and brainstorming in other ways we can to support our youth. We are willing to compromise and work with anyone in City Council, the Parks and Recreation staff, and others who are open to bringing midnight basketball and other late night activities back to our recreation centers here in Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for coming down. Director McKnight, do you want to make any comments regarding his presentation?
Chairperson Tyson, President Kentner, members of council. Mr. Jones and Mr. Bentley both came down to Councilmember Klein's budget hearing several weeks ago and presented some information to us regarding their proposal. We've looked at it. Councilmember Klein and I have had some discussions about what some opportunities might be, and we're still looking at that, and we'll determine how we can proceed. Certainly, the rec centers, there was a time when they were open 6 days a week till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Over the years, the hours have been reduced. Certainly, opportunity to have hours in the evening. There are advantages to it, but we'll have to look at the funding and see how that could be put together and what makes sense and best serve the community.
Senior, I'm a member of Community Foundation. My address is 337 Linwood. I'd like to thank President Genfer, the rest of other council members, and Mr. McKnight for answering most of our questions. We're here today to follow up on your decision to look at our proposal concerning extended hours for 10 recreational centers and the city budget. Respectfully, I'd like to address council at large. As a community, we care about our young people and want to see them succeed. But poverty and violence leave little opportunity for success. We're asking City Council to allocate additional funds for the Parks and Recreation Department to allow them to extend the evening and weekend hours of 10 additional rec centers. During the extended hours, one staff at each center can be on hand as a community counselor to handle handle not only immediate needs like emergency assistance, but act as a guide with career development by directing them to resources available for job readiness. By having information on hand about apprenticeships for building trades, heavy equipment operation, and the healthcare industry, we not only engage our youth, but we are directing them to the programs that can give them lifelong opportunity. We would like to follow up with you regarding this request after the first of the year. We look forward to discussing this further and find more ways we can support the youth of our communities. Together we can live in a city where all young people can be safe, prosperous, and access to the community. And I'd like to thank Council for listening to our speech, and have a blessed holiday season and a prosperous new year.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley, for coming down and sharing your comments, and certainly the work that you're doing with the young people in our community, and look forward to those conversations you're having with Director McKnight and Councilmember Klein. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Mr. Bruce Harkey, and then after that will be Mr. Jack Rio.
Good evening, I'm Bruce Harkey. I'm the Executive Director of Franklin Park Conservatory and Botanical Gardens, Councilmember Tyson.